Hello everyone, welcome back to Bookkeeping Life. My name's Steve Chrysler, and today we're going to talk about fear of failing. So fear of failing is a very common experience, and it keeps people from doing things that they want to do and trying new things. And so it's probably the number one reason why people say that they are timid about taking the first steps about starting their own bookkeeping business. They have a fear of failing. So let's address that today. So first of all, let's realize what it is. Fear of failing is it's a feeling, right? It's you haven't even started it yet. You do not want to start it because you do not want to fail at it. So one thing I like to do is say, at first we need to realize it's normal to feel that way. It's a survival instinct that we have, that we don't want to go down a road that could end up in failure. So let's first realize that that's a normal, common feeling. It's part of our survival instinct, not to do things that is going to hurt us. So let's dive into that a little deeper and realize that we can't get hurt from this. So if we realize that it's a feeling, and that it's also part of this, so it's part of the survival mechanism that's in our brains. And it's also a controlling thing. We want to control our environment. We want to control our situation. And whenever you go start anything new, even go to a new city or something, or go to a new restaurant, you're in a new situation. You do not always have 100% control. That's why it's really common for people to kind of get inside of a routine. They don't get outside of their little bubble, and that keeps us from growing. That's the downside of it. So it's either we have a lot of control over our environment, and not grow, or give up some of that control so that we can grow. And then what we're doing is take risks that don't jeopardize our lives, right? Starting a bookkeeping business is our survival instinct kicks in. We don't want to give up control, and we don't want to fail. But we need to realize what's the worst thing that can happen. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. So the first thing is realizing that it's a feeling that is normal. It's because of our survival instinct, and we want to have control. So don't be so hard on yourself with this, and realize just the science behind it. It's a feeling that normally crops up in our brains, and it's part of our brain's mechanism to protect itself. We want to survive, right? Okay. So the second thing is, so that's the first thing, is realize it's a feeling. 2, in this venture, there is no failing. So there are certain things in life that if you go in that direction, there could be real failure, right? Like, let's say you want to jump across the creek of running water, and you don't want to get wet, and it's kind of far. You jump, you don't quite make it, you fall in the water, you have your phone in your pocket, everything gets ruined. Yes, you failed at crossing the creek without getting wet. But in bookkeeping, and like with many things in life, I practice jujitsu, and one of the main somebody way back said this quote that we all use is, and for a competition or anytime you roll, anytime you have a match, you either win or you learn. And that really applies to starting your own bookkeeping business. You either win or you learn. There is no failing. No matter what you do with your attempt to create your own bookkeeping business, is you either are going to be very successful, sort of successful, or you're going to learn or maybe not successful. Either way, you're going to learn so much, and you have control over your level of success, which I'll talk about in a minute. So that's what we need to really realize. There's no losing, there's no failing when it comes to starting your own bookkeeping business. It's just, what level of success are you going to reach? So that's number 2. So number 1 is realizing that it's a feeling. Number 2, realizing that there is no failing when it comes to this. Even if, let's say, you go down the road of starting your own bookkeeping business, and you get down the road a little bit, and you realize it's not for you, or realize that you're not getting as much business as you want, or something like that. you will have learned so much about being an entrepreneur during that phase that you could start something else. So that's another thing about this control thing, is you can have control over your life. A lot of times we think we have control over our lives. And so if you have a 9-to-5 job, you have a boss, you go to work, you may think that you're in control of your life, but a lot of times we mistake predictability for control. So your days might be very predictable, but do you really have control? Like if that business went out of business, or you got fired for some reason, you're no longer in control. So you may have short-term predictability, but do you have long-term control? And it's sort of that old proverb of teaching people how to fish instead of giving them the fish. So what this is it's a exercise on learning how to fish. You're learning how to start your own business, and the overhead costs, which I talk about in other videos, is so low to do it that there is no failing. You just can't fail at it. The worst thing that can happen is that you're going to learn a lot about yourself, about what it takes to start a business, the level of determination that it requires, and stuff like that. So that's that, and that leads me to number 3. So number 1 is realize that it's just a feeling. 2, that there is no failing, and 3 is looking at worst case scenario. I always like to, whenever I debating on trying something new, or I'm realizing my fear in something, like this last weekend I had a jiu-jitsu competition. Anytime I sign up for a jiu-jitsu competition, I face fear. There's stress involved, anxiety. You have to wait for a certain amount of days from when you decide you're going to do it to when it actually happens, and the wait is the hardest part. Doing it is very strenuous. It's very hard physically. It's a very physical activity, but it's the mental piece that from when you start to when you finish that, or to when it starts, that you have to deal with that, the mental piece. But what I always try to do in any situation like that is look at worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario? And worst case scenario, which I just talked about a little bit ago, is that you learn so much about yourself. You learn how to start a business on your own, and you don't have to worry about falling in the water and getting your phone wet and ruining your clothes or anything like that. It's the risk reward factors. There's very little risk with high potential of reward. So so that's number 3. Realize that it's just a feeling. Is 1. There is no failing. That's 2. 3, look at the worst case scenario. What's the worst case scenario in your life that would mean? Is if you tried to start your own bookkeeping business and you didn't reach the level of success that you intended to. So what is the worst case scenario? It's not going to be the end of the world. And then number 4 is, and the final one is, that success is really, your level of success is determined, it equals your level of determination. So because I give you everything, I'm here. We have a whole support system here. We have we actually have a program that teaches people how to do this. So we give you every tool that you need to make it successful. The only piece that's missing is your decision to do it, and the level of determination that you have when you're embarking on it. So do not let fear of failure get in your way. It stops us all from doing things every single day of our lives. It's just, we need to realize that it's a feeling, realize it's a normal feeling that our brains have for survival. Realize that some situations, even though we have the fear, there is no such thing as failing. We're either going to gain from it, a lot from it, or some from it. That's the way I look at it. And then always look at worst case scenario. So that's number 3. And number 4 is that, and also realize that your level of success when it comes to starting and growing your own bookkeeping business is really, it all hinges on your level of determination. So I've had students that they have great determination and they're successful, and then some that don't really do anything with it and they're not successful. So it all hinges on you. You deal with the fear of it, take the plunge, and then realize that it all hinges on your level of mental determination, that you want to do this, you want to get this done, you want to succeed, you want to experience all the freedoms that working for yourself can provide. So I want you to do this. I'm here for you. If you have any questions, please email me at steve@bookkeepinglife.com. I'm always here. I'm always checking my emails. So I'll get back to you with any questions. And if you like this video, or you like the videos that I put out, please like and share it, and subscribe so that you get all the latest and greatest. And let me know in the comment section if you have any comments, and I'll check those and reply. But you can do this. Don't let fear get in your way. It is a huge barrier, but if you approach it kind of in a scientific way and realize what it is, level of failure that you could actually have, what's the worst case scenario, and then realize that all of that can just be pushed aside by your level of determination. That you can, if you know that you can do this and it's something that you really want, you can do it. The people all over the world are doing it, so why couldn't you do it? So anyways, think about that. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Hi everyone. If you'd like to learn more, I have a free webinar where I teach you how to quickly set up your own home-based bookkeeping business so you can start earning that extra $1,000 a month or more. In that webinar, you'll learn my step-by-step formula to getting bookkeeping clients. You'll learn how to set up your new bookkeeping business from scratch so you have more control over your time and your life, and many more freedoms that come with it. So if you'd like to sign up for that free webinar, just click the link in the description below and I'll see you there. Also hit the subscribe button.